Good evening, students. How are you all? Fine. Okay, very good. Must be fine. Okay, let us proceed with our discussion in business study. It is the session of business study. Okay. Students, in the previous session, we had started to discuss the different techniques of scientific management evolved or developed by F.W. Taylor. Okay, the first very technique that is of immense use basically in factory management is called functional foremanship, and this technique of functional foremanship we have discussed in much detail. According to this technique, the entire work process is split up into the smallest possible parts, and each part of the work process in fact is planned first by one specialist, and then it is performed, it is executed according to the plan again under the supervision of one specialist. Okay. So if this technique of functional foremanship is used, is applied, then high degree of efficiency can be obtained, high degree of specialization can be achieved, and it will help in reducing the cost and maximizing the output, maximizing the profit. Okay, this is the technique of functional foremanship. The second important technique of scientific management is called a standardization. Okay, a standardization. Right? What about this technique? Let us see. This technique of scientific management is based on setting the standards of everything going on in the organization, in the enterprise. That means performance according to the standards set by the management. Okay, it means more clearly, and if we explore it in something broad, then the performance of a worker should be as per the standards set by the management. The machines and tools should be used as per the standards set by the management. The materials should be used as per the standards set by the management. Okay. So when everything is standardized, then it becomes possible to reduce the wastage, duplication, errors and mistakes. How? Let us see. Okay, the management can set the standard of amount of works to be performed by an average worker. Okay, then it is clear to all the workers that they have to achieve this standard through their performance. If the management sets a standard for the raw material to be used in production, then it is clear to all engaged in production department that the raw material of which standard will be used again and again, only that standard will be achieved in production. If the standard of machines and tools is also fixed, is also set by the management, then while using these machines and tools, the operators of these machines and tools or users will achieve that standard. Okay, so a standardization, when we say, simply it refers to setting the standards of everything and each activity in the enterprise so that there may occur overall a standardization of the enterprise that will result in reduction of cost and maximization of profit. Okay, you know, students, the main aim of scientific management is on improving efficiency of the enterprise. And In order to improve the efficiency of an enterprise, the techniques have been given by F.W. Taylor. Once a standard of everything is fixed, then there is less possibility of doing mistakes or committing errors. And the quality of the product as well as quality of the work can easily be maintained if this technique of standardization is applied. Okay, is it clear now? I think the technique of standardization is clear to you all. Simply you can say that setting standards for everything important and useful in the enterprise and achieving these standards through better planning and execution is called a standardization. Okay. The next important technique given by F.W. Taylor under scientific management is called simplification. Means what? To simplify the process or work process. How? By removing the unnecessary movements, unnecessary activities or unnecessary activities and other things like that. Okay, you know students, what happens in fact because of unscientific approach or because of the traditional approaches towards management of an enterprise, the work process becomes so much complicated and there arises so many unnecessary movements, unnecessary activities because of irrational and unscientific decisions. How? Let us see. Let us explain it with an example. Take the example of a shoe manufacturing company that manufactures the shoes of different sizes, suppose like of 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, etc. Okay. Then to manufacture the shoes of these sizes is justified. Why? Because the shoes of these sizes have demand in the market. And there is no wastage of effort, money and material, etc. in manufacturing the shoes of these sizes. But suppose the shoe manufacturing company decides to manufacture the shoes of other sizes also like 2.5, 2.75, 3.25, 3.5 or 3.75 etc. Then it is not justified. Okay. Why? Because the shoes of these different sizes will have no demand in the market. And in fact, there is no difference if a person is using a particular shoe of suppose of size 5 and if he uses the shoe of 5.25, then there will be not much difference in between these two. Okay. And if the manufacturing concern decides to manufacture the shoes of these irrational sizes, then what will happen? There will be unnecessary wastage of efforts, wastage of money, wastage of material, and overall there will be unnecessary activities and movements in the enterprise that will result in increase in the cost. Right? What is the main objective of scientific management? To reduce cost. How? By improving efficiency. Okay. So the technique of simplification says that there should be removal of unnecessary movements, unnecessary sizes, unnecessary qualities, unnecessary quantities, unnecessary activities. How? By simplifying the entire work process. Right? You know, it is said in the management science that so simple a plan is as brilliant it is. Okay. So So through the technique of simplification, the operational cost of the enterprise can be minimized and high level of productivity can be achieved. Okay, this is called simplification. Now, the another technique of scientific management given by F.W. Taylor is called scientific study of work. Okay, what is this scientific study of work? We shall discuss later on. Let us first try to understand some of the basic things related to work performance of an enterprise. Okay, as for example, there must be an appropriate method of doing a particular work, of doing a particular job. Second, there must be an appropriate time, okay, to be taken in performing a particular work or a particular job. Third, there must be a particular motion or particular speed of performing a job or of doing a job. Okay, and there must be a particular level of efficiency of the workers to perform the job or to do the work. Okay, so in fact, when we say scientific study of work, then it includes the studies of four elements, the scientific study of the four factors, and these are method study, motion study, time study, and fatigue study. Okay, what are these studies? Let us discuss one by one. First of all, let us discuss about the method study. Under scientific study of work through thorough observations and experiments, it is found out that what is the most appropriate method of doing a particular work. You know, students, there may be so many methods for doing a particular job, but being a manager or while having a scientific approach towards management, you have to find out the most appropriate method so that the wastage could be minimized up to zero level and output can be maximized. Traditionally, the process chart technique or operational research techniques have been in use to find out the to carry on the method study. Okay, but in modern times so many new techniques and new technologies are in use to find out the most appropriate method of doing a particular job. Okay, the second important study under scientific study of work is called motion study. Motion study means the speed at which a particular job, a particular work should be performed. There must be an appropriate speed and appropriate motion. And this motion is also found out through observations and experiments. Okay, and generally, traditionally, moving camera is used to fix the appropriate motion of doing a particular job or of doing a particular work. But in modern times, several new technologies have come into existence and which the management is widely using in their day-to-day operations of the enterprise. Okay. The third important study under scientific study of the work is called time study. Right? This study is conducted to know the most appropriate time to be taken by an average worker in performing a particular job or in doing a particular work. Right? So, what should be the most appropriate time to be taken by an average worker and to be determined for operating a machine, etc., is also found out through thorough observations and experiments. And generally, traditionally, a stopwatch is used for this. And by using this stopwatch, it is found out what should be the most ideal time, most appropriate time. Okay, this is called time study. The next important study under scientific study of work is called fatigue study. What about this? This study is conducted to know the most appropriate mental and physical condition of the workers of an average worker for doing a particular work or doing a particular job. Okay, you know, students, the workers are human beings, and by working for a longer period of time, they feel themselves exhausted, they become tired, they become physically and mentally exhausted, and if they are again employed on the job, then their performance will deteriorate. Okay, so according to the technique of fatigue study, it is fixed that how many times they should be given intervals for resting, and what should be the frequencies of intervals for resting, for refreshment, for recreation, etc. Through thorough observations and study, it will be found out by the management that during under duration of what they should be given some relief, some relaxation, etc., so that they could maintain their efficiency for a longer period of